excited to talk to you today about how to set up your podcast workflow with Airtable. Now, I am an Airtable lover. I started using it this summer, and I thought it would be really helpful to show you how I set up my personal podcast through Airtable. I use this to schedule guests. I use this to plan my content as well as utilize forms, and I also can create past client showing you exactly who has been on the podcast. So I'm going to kind of just walk through. So my first tab within my podcast workflow base is I actually have a step-by-step setup for how I actually do my podcast. So from finding the guest to recording, copying it over to Final Cut Pro, all this stuff. And then I've actually set up a checkbox. So every week you can go through and check when you've done the actual physical setup of your podcast. So this is helpful for me to just know, okay, where am I at in the process, whether it's promoting or, finding the guest. There's so many steps when it comes to podcasting. Over on this side, I actually just have a list, which I'm actually probably going to blur a little bit, of podcast idea people that I want to interview. So I just have a guest ideas and specifically what topics they would talk about. And, you can add additional things like if you know their contact information. But I just have a running list of people I have not reached out to. If I have reached out to them, then I put them in a different list. But these are just people that I have on the top of my head of like, I should ask them to be on the podcast. Then I have the actual podcast form. This is really helpful because I actually book them through my software, and the moment that they've booked a time, it sends them this Airtable form, which is available by clicking Share Form. You just get the link to it, and I have automated that. I'm currently on the free plan, so I don't get any customization, but you can see that you can fill out all their information. So I have name, business name, email, bio, their headshot, which they can attach, website and affiliate links, Instagram, Facebook, etc. This also allows me to know how they're going to share the podcast when it comes out, and they can select which ones they want maybe the content for. I also just let them know, it's like, please have a good internet connection, blah, blah, blah. I also have a release agreement that they can check, and then they click submit. And that then goes into this right here. So you'll see that I have the clients, and then they have all checked that off. So that is what I currently have set up for the podcast form that is sent up through Airtable. And so when I'm actually making my content for the podcast, I can go into this and quickly copy paste that into my show notes. Now, upcoming content, that's just like, okay, this is what's coming up. You could even set up on Airtable if you wanted to. You could add a status. So you could have like, I could add like booked. You could do whatever you want. And then you could even have a status Kanban set up so you could see, all of that. It's really easy on Airtable. What I like to do also is every time I have finished one, I move it over to this board. So I have all of my past episodes. I have over 177 episodes of the podcast, the Collective Marketing Podcast. And then you can see I actually have it sorted this way as well. So what's cool is you can actually embed this into a website so people can actually sort. You can sort it by filters, by categories. It's really, really cool. I love Airtable so much. It goes all the way back. And then I also can see it in a release calendar. You'll see that every Tuesday I come out with a new episode. So I'm able to see who came out that day as well. Now, if I'm actually going to go to my show notes and add my links, I put the same thing every time. I have a section of just my bio and links. I also have the podcast embed link for Apple Podcasts, because every time I upload my podcast to Squarespace, I add both the Spotify and the Apple table embed, which is really helpful. Finally, I have a section called Podcasts I Listen to. These are ones that I personally listen to, and it's just another way for me to just make a list of something that I'm doing. So that is my podcast workflow in Airtable. All of this was custom set up by me, but if you want to recreate it, feel free. I may somehow figure out how to set up some sort of template people can download. If it's not available now, it will be in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want any more Airtable tutorials, let me know. I am obsessed with Airtable, and I would love to do more for my YouTube channel. So thanks everyone. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll talk to you.